The Seder starts off, I think, with a Madna Lashon, Boyo Pari. You know, it's normally the expression is go to Paro. She said Lechal Pari, like you used before. If you look in how you normally, even though on a GPS it's go home, but the mice you're coming home. You go out of the house. In other words, we're going somewhere where it's not familiar to you, or not that usually use a lashon going. Something that's familiar to me, I'm coming to. I'm coming into my own. I'm coming into the things which is like it's you. So it's more. So it should be go to para. So it could be that now. That Pari, by the end of Borod, that he changed his mind after he said, Aniva Ami Rashoyim, after recognizing the truth, he was still able to harden his heart and go back. Now you deserve all these punishments. So now the pshat is come to Pari. It has nothing, it's no more going to Pari. No choices on his part. It's all. We know what the facts are going to be. We know he's going to turn you down. We know he's going to think there. Pari, the Mitzrayim belongs to us. They're all going to be wiped out. And that's the Icarus, come to Pari. In other words, it's yours now. Like there's something with that idea. I know it's more used to it. Okay, and he goes and he gives him these three things. Okay, now even though Pari is forced to reject, in other words, he's going to harden his heart. He's not going to let the Yidden out. He's going to be forced to do that. It's not going to be a choice on his part. So Afal Pi Kain doesn't make he's completely Meshugah. I mean, it still plays out in the norm that a person can come to an inyan of tshuva. And it could be that pshat and all the thing. It depends what the purpose of tshuva is, what the purpose of charot is. If a person says, the Rebbeinu is right, I'm wrong, to avoid punishment, if that was the kavaneh, so then Einochinami, if I don't avoid punishment, I'm not going to do it. In that case, it's not really tshuva. Right? The ikir of tshuva is it doesn't make a difference if I will have punishment or not. The punishment I deserve. Thank you. Punishment I deserve, but where would I give you a measure like that to Acher? Right? I think we once discussed this. Acher, when Meir was following him, so Acher was riding a donkey on Shabbos, and the Meir was following him, and they're talking and learning. And they got to the Tchum Shabbos, so Acher says to Rab Meir, Ad kan Tchum Shabbos. So Rab Meir says to him, do Rebbe, do tshuva. I mean, obviously he still knows what Shabbos is, he still knows what Tchum Shabbos is, he knows all these things. So Rebbe, do tshuva. He says, I can't. Because I hear a baskel every morning that says everybody can do tshuva chutz. Okay, so far on some of the Bali Musa, they say that you can hear a false baskel. Okay, maybe. I don't know from such things. All I know is that the Torah Gemara says a baskel is a baskel. And if Atana told me you heard a baskel, he's a baskel here. So the shaila is, so what is Taka saying to him? How could it be such a thing? Pshat is, why are you riding your donkey on Shabbos? It's halachas. No, you don't have to ride. We'd be sitting on two chairs in the house and discussing the Indian. I don't have to be riding my donkey. Why am I riding my donkey? I'm doing it because I want to be Mechal Shabbos. I want to do it b'fahesi. I want to do it in front of you. But if I very sure would give you Elam Haba, then I'll do tshuva. Meaning I'll stop being Mechal Shabbos. I'm going to be sorry I was Mechal Shabbos? Maybe. I doubt it. But if you're sorry for doing it, why aren't you sorry now, even if you're not Mechal? Even if God's not going to forgive you, you should be sorry. Where's your remorse? You're sorry you did this. That's the thing there. That I'm not sorry for. If you're not sorry for it, it's not tshuva. That's what I'm saying. Tshuva is I got to be sorry for what I did. I'm not sorry. I did it. Right there. If I don't get what I want, I'm not interested in doing it. So then that's not sorry. That's gone. That's what I'm saying. So it could be if Pari would have reached such a mataregi, it could be it would have worked. I don't know. I can't say that you know. Or even maybe sometimes in that case also not. Because you reach a certain point, like, you know, a guy can do tshuva, but if it's like tshuva miyira, like that type of a concept, it's not enough. It's not enough sometimes to cut out. Sometimes it is enough, but sometimes it's not enough. You've got to have something more than just saying, I'm not doing it again, or even if I'm sorry because I'm going to get punished. That's sorry. That's not sorry. You're sorry for yourself. You're not sorry for doing the obvious. So that doesn't count. That's what I'm saying. So tshuva me'ira really isn't tshuva. It's just for yourself. It doesn't. That's why it doesn't count. So therefore, there can be punishments even after the tshuva. It has nothing to do with what equal, because that's not tshuva. So it could be that it's not a stira to anything. It's just that the pari did not reach that point of saying that I'm wrong. So how come he says before, Ani v'ami Yerushalayim, so he did reach wrong? That's what you want to hear. I mean, it could be, you know, that a makir, obviously it's not going like I want it, there's something wrong. I haven't figured out what, but there's something wrong. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, the Avdei Para, you see, he's not meshugah enough to say when the Avdei Para came to him and said to him, you know, Kvar of the Mitzrayim, you know, so what, call him back. He should have said to them, no, I refuse. And they say, no, he didn't say that, he called him back. So obviously he's able to overcome, you know, this thing, but it doesn't help you to the point of to stop it, because the Rebbeinu Shem is going to keep doing different things to make you upset. So what did he do over here? He has with him a philosophical discussion. So he says to him, it's interesting, he also told him he's going out with the sheep and the cows, right? Right? So basically, you know, this day he's now arguing with him about the kids. Later after Chesed, he argues with him about the cows, you know, about the sheep. You know, like he's like, you know, each time he's giving in like 1 point, but Moshe told him, we're going out with everything. I mean, it's not just that, you know, like we forgot about the sheep and the stuff. It's not negayah to him. But what's this actual discussion here? Just a point of stubbornness. You're going to have kids here. You're crazy, you know, I'm not letting you out. So could be, in Parshas, this would be complete defeat of Paro's whole objective that he wanted. His objective was always to assimilate the Jews into the country, into the economy of Mitzrayim. That was Paro's dream from the time of Yosef, that the Jews will become Mitzrayim. It could have been the dream of Shem, of Hamor, that they will marry into us, we will become one nation, we have their brains will be descended into our people, all of a sudden we control the world. Similar to the king of Morocco, even though he doesn't want assimilation. The king of Morocco, all the years, Hassan was the one that he died. I don't know who the guy is now, but he was also forced into the Arab League. But he was always, the Jews always had very high positions in Morocco. And after they made officially a peace treaty after Jordan and that thing there, So they're back again in those positions. A lot of Jews moved back to Morocco. It's interesting. To think that because Morocco was different than the other Arab countries. And what was his dream always? Of having the Jewish brains and the Arab workforce to be able to control the world. In other words, that the Jews would be able to figure it out, and the armies and the people, whatever had to do the work, would be the Arabs, and together we will be able to work out. Well, I'm not interested that we intermarry or into this thing. You can be you be me. But the said together we will, But most people want it to be, those, we are different. Just as now all of a sudden you're hearing all the anti-Semitism that exists in America. So now they put a B'tereh Shvach. What I mean B'tereh Shvach? There's this joke about two friends meeting after many years, and one guy has Allgemeine was what he calls a Babylon paper. Anyway, this guy has a Jewish paper, and the other guy has an Amsterdam News. And he's looking at him with two friends. We're both chavrusim in yeshiva over the years. I know the guy's a former guy, but what's he doing with an Amsterdam News? And the thing over there, and he keeps looking at him. But he doesn't say anything. So the guy who has the Amsterdam News realizes it, and he says, I see it's bothering you that I have an Amsterdam News, and I see the paper you have is an Allgemein. I said, what are you reading the paper? You're reading the paper, the Yidden haben Tzolos, the Goyim hate us, Goyim this, right? Everything there. So all you hear is Tzolos. I have an Amsterdam News and I read the Jews control the world. The Jews do whatever they want and the thing there. So what would I rather read? The Amsterdam News or that's it. About with all the joke, with it comes the sinner that, they control the world, they do this and this and that. Okay. So one of the things that came out was a very interesting thing, that 20% of the Jews are in the 200,000, or 25% of the Jews, the $200,000 a year range, which the rest of the country is only 3% in America. So in other words, the Jew somehow is more successful than the Goy. And we're talking about we're talking about basic Sachen. So in other words, so there is something that we're doing that they themselves are makir, that somehow the Jews, besides the things that, we discover, who's the richest family in the world? The Rothschilds. I don't know how many trillions they give to them. I guess they mean every part of the family together or everything, but who made banking? Jews. Who made capitalism? Jews. And the thing goes, all of these things were made by Jews. Because we were in countries, they wouldn't let us own land, they wouldn't let us do anything, so we figured out different parnasses that we had to do. And that's basically what we did. All the commercialism and merchandising and all these things are Jewish businesses. And the thing goes, even in America, Macy's, Gimbel's, Saks, these are all the Yiddish companies. So all of these companies became and the other ones are the stock markets, Goldman Sachs and these things, for those who did these stock market things there. So I'm saying all of these things were invented because the Jews had to make a parnasa. So if they make a parnasa, they were also honest. So they had to make a new idea of a new parnasa. They became the agents of the ball players. They became the agents of something. All of a sudden the ball players get good contracts. Why? Because the Jew gets 15%. So they get a good contract. I mean, something like that. They couldn't do it themselves or whatever it is. So they wanted this as a chelik in Egypt. So the kids, that once he lets them go, he doesn't have anybody to marry into Egypt. Like this, the kids, it's not a big deal for them if they marry into Egypt because they don't necessarily have any built-in things. All the grown-ups are not going to marry and they're not going to assimilate them. about kids, cats. You can say it was a simple fight for that, but it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be a philosophical thing that the Torah brings down this whole discussion here, that you're going to die. What's that got to do with anything? I mean, that's not what I'm doing. Just I'm not letting you out. He says, no, it's going to be bad for you. So there's a philosophical discussion here. The philosophical discussion is, Rashi says, and the dam, the rod keneged pneichem, he says, so the mazel, right? They're going to die. What was his cheshbon? His cheshbon was, you're taking a kid, and it's taki, we see this bepoil, that the Benishim does, he makes us bebachi yuv at 13, right? And in those years, as a gadol, he gives us the biggest yetzer we shayach to have, right? And he doesn't give us the idiyas atera, or even the what he called the keiches hanefesh, to be able to not do averos, and what do you call it? And it's very unfair. So you're going to kill the kids. You're going to give them restrictions. They can't control the yetzer. They're going to be over on these restrictions. They're going to die. So therefore, you're not doing them a favor. Now, we're tying it once. For bar mitzvah, why you make a bar mitzvah party for? The Amish, you should make a wake, because the kid is now becoming a bar oinish, and now that he's become a bar oinishim, he's going to get punished for his averas. So you're not doing him a favor. You're making him, he's going to die. So why are you making a party? So I tell you, the reason we're making a party is because we say to the kid, it's a big yetzer and it's big problems, but on the hand that you make it, the reward is fantastic. We got confidence in you that you're going to make it. So you got a guy who gets to be a CEO of a company, you make a party for him. Why? Because he's getting the largest contract, he's getting this, it's a lot of money. But on the other hand, if the company doesn't do well, he's going to get fired first. So why should he be so happy to get there? Because I'm going to make it. I'm not going to be the one that's going to be fired. So therefore, that's what we do. So that's the case. Why don't girls entitle also to a bas mitzvah party, a big one? Like they also become bar chiyuva, right? Bas chiyuva. I said the difference is a girl doesn't change her life. She's the same girl she was when she's 8 years old. She does her they go to doing what do you call it, to the old age home, and they sing and dance for the people there, and they make them feel good, and they stuff like that, and they come home, they may be davening in the morning, and stuff like that, but they don't change their life. A bacha, when he becomes bar mitzvah, all of a sudden he's got to go with a minyan, there's an inyan, a bittul teiche, all of a sudden, and things like that. All of a sudden, you have to change your whole life. Change your life, you have to do a big party. You're not changing your life, you become bachi, you make your little party. Okay, you're making a house for the friends, whatever it is, and that's it. So that's Paris time to tell. Moshe said, you're right. But we start off, what's the dam? Dam milah. This that you're seeing, dam, is not dam of murder, you're talking about dam milah. If you start at 8 years old, the relationship between the kid and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and something like that, so then he has enough, by the time he becomes old enough, he'll become strong enough to be able to have something that won't at least be what he's going to be. And I find that the reason maybe the Rebbeinu makes Onshim B'Dishamayim from 20 is because he wants that he understands this Nisoyan, and if he's tried the whole time, by 20 you should be able to conquer it. You'll be okay. And stuff like that. So therefore, we could make it if we start early enough. And that's what the Rebbe. So therefore we want to start with the kids. That will give us the biggest chaos because we actually trained them into ourselves. Okay, so he kicks him out again and then he throws him out. Okay. Okay, so the Alba starts. Okay. There is something they say over, I don't know if the Metzias is this way or it was from big people that said it. I don't know. I mean, supposedly, when I was a kid, I heard it, that there is no Arve in Mitzrayim ad hayom. In other words, that they don't come into Mitzrayim Arve. No, they're here. I mean, not many guys remember it, I think, but I remember it. I mean, we were in the first few years we were in this building. The 7-year locust that's in this section of the country, right? Every 7 years, there's a buzz and a noise, and the locusts are here eating up all the trees. Mamish, you have no leaves left by the summer, and the stuff for the end of stuff like that. But now the last few years it hasn't been like that. So I guess maybe they figured out how to kill them finally. But what happens is they used to dig themselves into the ground and lay their eggs over there. And in 7 years they become everything the 7 year old. But Mitzrayim, is the thing. There's not even one left. Nisha arbe echad b'chol gvul Mitzrayim is ad hayom. Could be. I don't know. Could be. It's like that. I don't know. Because it's not necessary if this is to be that way. Okay. Now, then came Choshech. Now, Choshech, it doesn't seem to be a very painful thing. You were stuck in one place for 3 days, 6 days, whatever it is, Yom Choshech, however they learn Pshat. Gotta say he couldn't go to the bathroom. Okay. Couldn't drink. That already probably bothers you a lot if you can't drink. Couldn't eat. And stuff like that. So that's the punishments. Could be. Okay. Kemtan. I don't know. On the other hand, if you're a sick guy in a bed, and you're sick, you can be for several days, you're not eating anything, you're not drinking anything, and because you have no Yetzer Hara for it. So I don't know how they would feel in this case, I don't know. I thought of a different thing that could be the punishment. The 3rd, 6th, and this is the 9th Makis are all Makis that came by themselves, without warning. What are they? Kinim, Shrin, and Choshech, right? Kinim, I don't know if how many people know what lice do, but in my time everybody knew what lice did. And they think they itch, right? And you scratch and go things. So you itch. Okay, so the punishment was itching. Okay. What shrin? Shrin is rashes. It itches, right? And choshech, if you were itching and you can't scratch, what is the biggest torture? You have pain or you have an itch that you can't scratch? Which one do you think about torture? Which one would drive you crazy? The pain or the itch? So I'm just thinking that Stama say that's a tremendous punishment. I mean, it's not killing you, but it's killing you. You want to put it. Okay. Anyway, another thing they say over, that the Mitzrayim understood the honesty of the Yidden. Now, is this honesty? It's a way of looking at it. I mean, I've heard this thing. What was basically the thing when they came to borrow the clothes later on from Mitzrayim, so they asked for that, that blue dress you have with the gold things on the shoulders and the diamonds over here. I'd like to borrow that one. I don't have it. Maybe you forgot where it is, but if you look in your upstairs closet behind the what do you call, you'll find it buried in there that you have that dress. Can I borrow that one? Now how do you know that where I have it? Unless you went through my house. And the thing though, so now with the Yidden doing Choshech went through the houses. And they knew exactly where everything was, and that's what knew what to borrow. Otherwise, I know what the guy there still has to borrow from him. If you don't know what he has, right? So they knew it, but they didn't take it. They could have taken it, and no one says, "Oh, me? What do you want from me?" I don't know anything there. But they didn't do that. But they could have done it. They did it in an honest way. That itself is a way of makir to Mitzrayim, who the first thing they would do is steal. Like, what's the Istamar? You know, why is this a better way of doing things than just stealing it? And they're saying, on the other hand, they saw a Mila, and somehow they didn't invade the guys taking, even though they invaded my privacy, they obviously knew everything you have in my house. I have to think about that more to exactly, that a Mila Chesov. So, but seemingly, the guy was claiming I was a good Mila. And then the end of the Korbanos, the Shaila is, what was he makbid on the Korbanos? Because they're the gods of Mitzrayim, or because it shows a servitude to another god? In other words, you want to know if you're going to have to bring Korbanos to your god. And by doing that, you then don't believe so much that I'm a god. In other words, Pali still had that dream that whatever it is that he's putting on this image that he's a god. And it's something, again, you want to take stuff out and sacrifice it to your god. They're saying everything is from you. You know what everything's from me? When I come up to the Nile, and the Nile rises and it produces the tefillah and everything else that we eat. So I'm the one that causes sustenance in the world, not you. In other words, so what is it that you want? That you're recognizing in God that I'm not the man. I'm not the God, whatever that does this thing. So did he really think of himself as God? Even if he didn't, but I'm the giver. The tzitz is my coming, and to the Nile makes it overflow. So okay. Okay. Now, the idea of the Benishim didn't need Mitzrayim to kick us out. If you wanted us out of Mitzrayim, could have taken us out, and we're gone. What was the point that he wants this power to kick us out? He wants to break Paro from being, who's not listening, to all of a sudden trying to listen as best as he can. In other words, please go, please go, please go. At the same time, I believe that he put into Paro's mind the biggest fear that Paro had. What was the fear that Paro had in the beginning of Parshas Shmos? That maybe the Yidden will take over Mitzrayim. Right? Because it says over there, so he didn't want to say bad on himself, so he said on the Jews, that they'll go over the land. But he really meant they'll kick us out of the land, they'll take over the land. That all of a sudden, I want them to leave. I'm giving them reshus. I'm even pushing them to go, right? And they're not going. We're not ready yet. We're leaving in the morning. We're not leaving now. Are they going to leave in the morning? How do I know? So it must have been that night, Paro must have been so petrified that maybe they decided to stay. And then we got to leave. Or they can kick us out then because they have the supreme power. So therefore now he's got that fear in him. But obviously the Benishim wanted us to leave, but that was the... Okay. Okay. Again, this is with the theme of what the chayiv of the Korban Pesach is, the inyan of chinuch. In other words, chodesh hazelchem rosh chodoshim. So he says, Rashi says down, kazer re'ei b'kadesh. Right? What are you supposed to see? You're supposed to see the new moon. You can't see the new moon. In the calculation of when a new moon starts, it's not seeable to the eye. Now it's taking place, but it's not seeable to the eye. So therefore, afal pikein, we have to be so ready to be mekabel yidden and to work on yidden, that even if you have that little bit, go out and make that guy holy. In other words, this a pintel yid, if you want to call it. I once had Lubavitcher explain this to me. This is going back about probably in the 70s, so I can't even see anything out. The Rosh Yeshiva of the Lubavitcher Yeshiva in Los Angeles. So he explained that Amol Given, the Pintel Yid, was into marriage. A Freie Yid would not intermarry. He says now that even that is gone. That's what he was trying to say those years. Intermarriage is now a big thing. So what is the Pintel Yid? Whatever he was looking for, but they were looking for what the Pintel Yid is. In other words, there's some line that I don't cross. I'm a Yid, but there's one line that I don't cross. That makes the Pintel Yid. And we got to find that and what to make a Yid. And we see this b'payel by Freie people, that certain things they do. Mila Fashtetzach, we have like somehow, even that also you have a lot of people that don't do anymore. But at least that's also something the Freie Yidden do. A Mila. They even do Bar Mitzvah, some of them. I mean, there's something that's not the tax colors of our thing, but there's something leaked in them yet that there's such a thing. I was thinking of something that slipped my mind. Okay. The Korban Pesach also goes with the same idea. The Korban Pesach you can't eat nor mevushel. You can't eat it either raw or cooked. Nothing over there. So I give a moshel to what's raw. Raw is a guy who doesn't give any discipline at all. I mean, or any chinuch at all. However the kid grows up, he'll be okay. He'll make his own decisions when he gets old enough and stuff like that. That's raw. Didn't do anything. And then there's mevusha b'mayim. I send to the right schools. I said, but I myself have no real involvement. I don't check at the kid. I don't check it. Ask the kids questions and see how he's doing and stuff like that. I rely on the school. So Shad is in Bishul. It's also you put in a pot of water and you walk away for hours. You come back, it'll be cooked. And so Chinuch is not that way. It has to be roasted. Now a guy who grills and stuff like that, you have to have a guy there the whole time. Not shaykh, let's put it on the grill and then go back and do something, come back 15 minutes later and it'll be done. It's not going to be that way. Because if you don't stand there and watch the blood drip into the fire and into the coals and the big blaze comes up and sears it and stuff like that, you'll end up with burnt meat. Or burnt on the outside and raw on the inside, or something like that. It's not going to be, you have to be very careful when how you roast something. You have to be there all the time. That's chinuch. Chinuch, you have to be with your kids all the time. What's bothering you, what's with you, how are you, and all that stuff. Okay, that's what anything. And what do you call it? There's an Indian that certain things have to be done at certain times, certain things don't have to be done at certain times. We'll find out that Ya'akov Avinu, Moshe Rabbeinu, they didn't give big Musa while they were alive. when there was samach when he saw some, they told him the Musa. Why? Because maybe, like Yaakov said, maybe Reuven, by telling him that, that you lost everything, he's going to go to Esav. Right? They have to have it. But now if I don't give him Musa, he'll never know what's wrong. So I got to tell it to him now. But he understands. I didn't tell it to him before. I wasn't out to hurt him. I was out to help him. So, but now I got to tell it to him. Same thing Moshe says, so I got to tell it at a certain time. So there is things that you do tell, even though there's grace and tightness, but I tell it, and they may not like to hear the tightness. But if I can tell it. It's okay. But there are certain things, let's see, what was it I wanted to do here? So even though we're attached all the time, to the kid, and we know what we want to correct, not always are we in position to make the correction. Because if we do that, we chase him away further. And this is a lot of things we don't know. And when starting to work on the idea, tefillah, we said is a big inyan, it can overcome many things. And God will give into it, even though it's not good. Not good for himself, or good for the world, and not good for them. That's I got to work on. Does anybody want something that's not good for him? Right? Now, you'll say, of course we all want the Yetzer Haras that we have for things that are not good for him. You want to become rich, but you don't know if you're going to be able to withstand the Yetzer Haras that come with riches. You're going to be able to be mekayim the chiyuvim you have with riches. Like guys say, I want to become rich, I can give a lot of tzedakah. How do you want to give the tzedakah? Well, all of a sudden you don't have any menuchas hanefesh, and you're willing to give tzedakah that way. In other words, that you have a line outside your door that you got to keep writing checks, and the thing is you can't go and take your wife out or anywhere, go to that fancy restaurant you wanted to go to because there's people waiting here, I need waiting for you. So that means I have no free time for myself. Is that what you want? People sometimes don't realize what they want. I don't know how many of you remember when I was in elementary school, we read a poem or a short story, I don't remember anymore what it was, about 3 wishes with the monkey's paw. And the guy wanted he wanted to have money, so his kid gets killed and he collects from the insurance, but they didn't want his kid to get killed, so he wants his kid to get back. He uses up another wish for that, and another wish for everything to go away. And he comes out, he has nothing left, and he doesn't have a son either, and stuff like that. So, I don't remember the whole story over there, but the idea is you got to know what you wish for, with the tanoim and everything else. It's not something that this is what I want. You don't know what you want. And stuff like you want only on this condition, not on this condition. So, yeah. Okay. Let me see about the dogs. Let's see what we'll see. Yeah, let me say before. It says, this is what he threatens Pari, tells Pari, when he tells him about Max Becheres, and the dogs, and for that we give the dogs la kelev tashlichanaisai by the veil and treifa, that we give it the schar of the dogs. What the dogs do. So this is what the dogs did. Gemara says Balchamov's beer is what do you call it? Is the dog's bark, howl. The Benishal beer, it doesn't. They keep quiet. They're sameach, like that. Who kills the Becherim? the Benishlam, Anivalei Malach, Anivalei. So he did it. So the dogs didn't cry. So they said Atis, that who killed the Bechayrim, that the Benishlam did it. Because if it was the Malach HaMavis, it would have been mitbarking. So therefore, for that, Kumtum Descha. Now, was there any Eidim that it was God that did it? To understand the difference between Shmura Matzah and Matzah. Both of them are not chometz. So on the Seder night, you're mechuyev to have Shmura Matzah. The rest of Pesach, you can eat regular matzah. Even that night you eat regular matzah, but you have to eat at least the gezayis of Shmura Matzah. So Shmura Matzah has a different implication than matzah. Matzah is we don't want to eat chametz, so therefore we have to eat matzah. There's nothing else to eat. But Shmura Matzah is something that we're watching the matzah. We're making sure that it can't become chametz. That's something when our declaration of to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, at that time, it has to be pure. It can't be just, it's not there. It has to be with intent that it's not there. And that's why Shmatim Hamatzah is only on Etzem Hayom Hazeh, which is the day we went out of Mitzrayim, which became an Am. The rest of it is an Indian of not eating chametz, and therefore you're eating matzah. But that has nothing to do with any dedications and stuff like that. So that's one thing. And that's Yom HaPesach. Okay. Then we have 4 sons. 3 of them are in this Seder. One of them is in Parshas Chanan, and that is the Chacham, because it's not really necessary to all our things. There's nothing to do really with the Korban Pesach, really, except that we're trying to teach him Kol HaTereh, the ideas of Tachlis and so on. But the ones that actually talk about the Pesach is which is the first son, the Rosh. And it says over there, V'oiki yom aleichem b'neichem mo avodah zeislechem. In other words, when are they going to tell this? V'oiki is the way it's supposed to be before. V'oiki is Peyואל ha'aretz hashita Hashem lechem k'shediber. U'shmartem es avodah zeh. So come to Eretz Yisrael and you're going to do this avodah of Korban Pesach. And then somewhere along the line your children will say, why are you doing these archaic things? What's all this business with tonight? What's so special about tonight? Right? So v'amartem zevach Pesach u'Hashem asher posach avot miYisrael. Okay. If this is the answer, somehow the Agoda doesn't say that. The Agoda says, what's the answer to the Ben Rosh? Haki Shinov. Right? So it's not the answer what it says in the Chayra. No. The answer is what it says in the Agoda. Haki Shinov. That's the answer. This, I say to myself. In other words, this is very depressing. We're talking about being in Eretz Yisrael, when with God, with the Beis Hamikdash, with the whole thing, and everything we see. And they ask you, what are you guys, crazy? What do you think we're celebrating? We're talking about our independence, whatever it is that we understand, right? You don't see it. Right? So you have a tremendous depression. So say to yourself that what happened on Pesach Hashem Shaposach, he killed even Eloi David Zora, Eloi David Zora. They were no different than the Egyptians. They did invade Zora, and still the Reuven Feinstein skipped over them. Why? Because a Yid is not a Goy. The biggest moshel I was able to give always was between Trotsky and Stalin. They both made the revolution under Lenin. But the Ikka was, the big brains of the revolution was Trotsky, the Yid. He was a murderer, just like Stalin was. But he Taka believed that he's going to make the world a better place. He's going to make a place for people to be able to grow and thrive, and equality and all the other things that go with it. Stalin was interested in power. And the thing, that's a difference. So a Yid is not King Goy. Once I know a Yid is not King Goy, then that's our job to try and get them back as much as we can. Because they care about the world, they care about everything. So therefore, Vayikdu, Vayishtachu, it says for what? So Rashi, Absurus Horetz, Absurus Abonim. That he told us that we're going to have kids. What kind of kids did he tell you you're going to have? You're going to have Rishonim. And you're still bowing down that you're going to have kids? Yeah, because Yid isn't King God. That much he told us. So therefore we have a head start. If we get this kid back, we got something. And they say over about the Chofetz Chaim, supposedly when the Menahel, who came from this yeshiva, whatever it was, the name of him, whoever he was, came to his house once. And he told him who he was. So he says, did you have this and this? I forgot what Trotsky's real name was. Was he in your yeshiva? He says, yeah. He said, you threw him out? He said, yes. He said, get out of my house. Now, the Parshas, they learn why they throw him out, because by your throwing him out of yeshiva, you made him into the Russia, and he became the communist who killed millions of people. That's true. But we don't know what else the thing there, but we could have used his keiches, his brains, his this, to make him into a Talmud Chacham. And you killed Geralt, you killed him. And that was the point. So you'd be, not only is that you made him a guy that killed us, the communism, which was a tremendous persecutor of the Yidden, of Torah, and stuff like that, but the Maisa is that you see what you kept away from us. And he said, supposedly threw him out of the house. So I'm saying, so obviously knowing that a Yid has that potential, if we work on him and able to bring him back, I think it'll be a different story. Okay. Okay. My biggest my biggest chiddush I think about this Becheres, the truth is probably from Beniman on, is how long did the Makkos take? The whole cycle of the 10 Makkos, it take 10 months. Now probably Makkah came in once a month, and that was the 10 months. The Gemara says we were free on Rosh Hashanah, and Rashi's Loshen is Batel Hashibut. There's no more work. So 6.5 months later was when we first go out of Mitzrayim, and then we first killed the Bechorim. What did the Bechorim do? If you figure 6 months later, that means after Kinnim, you're starting the other 7 Makkos, which are the next 7 months. So you have it in there. So after Kinnim, there was no more Avodah. So why are you killing us? Why are you giving us Makkos for? So the time is because it's like Russia. Russia, technically, you stay in Russia, and what do you call it? And you're a citizen of Russia, maybe even mechubed, but you can't leave. Who couldn't leave? So I know I have relatives, or I have relatives, I have no idea if they're alive or not, but who were atomic scientists, part of their atomic project, they couldn't leave. There was a dancer that was part of the family, and he was let him out to leave. He was able to leave. But the other ones were not able to leave. In the same family, same what he called. It depends what you did. In other words, because we don't want you adding on to the other country. One of the main reasons that Eretz Yisrael, or Israel, you want to call it, is such a, I guess, not modern so much as really is a rich country, is because they are very innovative in medicine, inventions and science and technology, stuff like that. No, there's these things there. Where they get it? Because when a lot of the scientists left Russia, they went to Eretz Yisrael and they became part of the thing, and therefore we became a very a country with a lot of scientists in it, no matter what he calls it. So they're very way up in the chachmas of what the world needs and stuff and wants. So so they saw the power the Yid had in the point of this. Okay. So let's see. Okay, they want to kick them out. Okay. And how did they take out the chametz? Now this is they took their food terem yechmot before it was ever became chametzlik. It could be pshat, it's a very simple one. That's not the thing they like, because otherwise you're going to say that the chametz, that the matzah they ate was only a matzah nes, and normally you can't eat it. If the sun is what baked it, now what the thing is the sun baked it. First of all, it was a pretty hot sun, and that probably was very, very painful and stuff. But if the sun baked it, that's chametz. It's too slow a process. Wouldn't be right. I think that just leaving it alone is what comes chametz. So you got to say, you can learn pshat that they started. They put it up to rise like normal bread, and they said, "We're leaving. Oh, what do you got? We're thrown into the oven, and then a minute later it'll be baked." And that's what they did. So therefore, that's what B'tach Yachmatz. Okay, that's not the story we all know, but okay. Okay. Yeah. So now the lessons of this, of Mohar and Matzah, which we had before, and Kom Pesach was the chinuch. Matzah is Yeshua's Hashem Kerafayim. In other words, you haven't got even 18 minutes before Yeshua's Hashem can come. So therefore, there's no such thing as ever giving up on anything, because you don't know where the Yeshua's Hashem is. Yeshua's Hashem Kerafayim. Mohar is pshat, like I learned this from my neighbor. I had a neighbor, and he's a mamar shel. So he always, guys always say, especially then the guys were going to Eretz Yisrael first. So they asked the kid, how you doing? Hakol b'seder. That's one thing they picked up in Israel, was the lashon hakol b'seder. Okay, so he used to say to them, remember, mein Seitel faran mora rechet. In other words, don't forget that, hakol b'seder, you're saying it, so that mora is part of the seder. What is the pshat mora is part of the seder? So the Rosh Yeshiva says that the chiyuv, why by Chazeres is the number one mora. There's a bunch of moras mentioned in the Mishnah. So why is Chazeres the number one? Because it says Chazeres is green and then becomes white. And as green, it's not bitter at all, and then becomes bitter. He says a person should know that the Rebbeinu Shem gives you Yisurim to warn you, to make you do tshuva. So if you do tshuva, as soon as you get the Yisurim, it's not going good, do tshuva, then it did its purpose. If you don't listen to it, that big deal, what is it? So this lost over here, but it'll break your leg, it'll kill you, what it'll do to you. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse, because Tamcha, which is Chen, is the last one on the list. So therefore, like the bitter, you should have had Tamchas, at least a Mara. I mean, everybody sticks a little Mara into the Chazeres. If you hold Chazeres is the right thing, why do you stick in the Mara in there for? I mean, the Chen in there for? The whole idea is to get the lesson without having to burn and the thing over there. But so it's, but I'm just saying, so if you learn, because that's how the Egyptians treated us, so we have to get used to the idea that the Beis Shalom that's one of the ways of teaching us, unfortunately, is by giving you sorrow and pain and whatever it is. Okay? So then it's part of the thing, like someone put it, the marshal to boot camp. You know, if you want to become a good soldier, you're going to have to go through boot camp. But a boot camp is not a pleasant experience. You get hurt, and you get dirty, and you get, what do you call it? But that's what's going to save your life when it comes into a thing there. So certain things are necessary, but that's a big lesson for people to chap, that's the tevosenu, that's a big thing. Okay, that's the thing. Do we have any time for this? In the Indian, very fast, the Indian of Kaddish, the Elishol is the biggest person that can be. In other words, it doesn't mean he can't ask a question. He doesn't have any questions to ask. He's taught it all before. In other words, when you're taught something a certain way, you don't even think to ask. You know, it's pushed that way. And that's the guy, if you want it, because he's the one that you're going to teach in the end. In other words, mitzvahs is the tachlis of the world. That's what you're going to teach me. How are you going to teach that to me? So basically there are 6 steps in here involved. One of them is a commitment on the parents' part. He does not tell them K'dashim Yiyu, which he does in Parshas K'dashim. He says K'dashim Yiyu, be holy. Doesn't say that here. He says make them holy. How am I going to make them holy? I'm going to teach them certain facts that they have to do to make them holy. One of them is that, what he called, the purpose, the day we remember, is not the day we became free, because that was Rosh Hashanah. We remember the day we went out of Mitzrayim, the day we became free of the culture of Mitzrayim. And as I say, that could even be the way the Hebrew is, even though technically it's correct Hebrew. Yitzias, we celebrate Yitzias Mitzrayim. What do you celebrate? We celebrate Yitzias Mitzrayim. You're saying you're celebrating Yitzias of Jews min Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim didn't go anywhere. It's still where it is. But obviously, technically, it's Hebrew's right somehow. Why? I don't know. But if I say Yitzias Mitzrayim, it's the day Mitzrayim left us. That's Yitzias Mitzrayim. Why did it leave us? Because the day we left Mitzrayim, because of their hatred, because of their, what do you call it? All of a sudden we're free of the yoch of Mitzrayim. We don't want to have the culture of Mitzrayim. The same thing happened by Hitler, Yamach Shmoy. The Germans were the most friendly to the Jews all the years. Came along Hitler and made it that no one wants to buy German even. I don't want to have any shaykhs. The Jews in France don't want to have any shaykhs anymore to France. And stuff like that. Now I recognize the sinner that they have to us, that I don't even want to be part of them anymore. So that's the important part. That's one way that he gets us to hate them. What will he do with us? I don't know. But that's nice. We're the only ones left. Okay, that's the next one. So I want you to do that. You have to remember. Then I want you to eat. Don't eat mat chametz. Means I want you to Yisur Merah. And I want you to remember that you're going out in the time of renewal, that is always true. Those are the lessons of leaving Mitzrayim. When I bring it out, so what do I want from you? I want you to do Avodah Zos. Get involved in Chinuch. I want you to eat matzah, asay teiv, and chametz. That the chayr belongs before. Don't eat chametz, and you shouldn't see chametz. How come it's a No, I want you now to become so good that nobody will ever remember you were bad. That's how good. And if you get to that madrege, we got to the bilcha b'yom hahu. Then you can talk to your kid and say, and yeah. You see, Reish Lakish was such a person. Reish Lakish was a gangster, right? He did tshuva, became Rish Lakish, right? So the Gemara says if someone would see Rish Lakish talking to someone in the street, he would loan the money without edus, because he must be an honest man. If Rish Lakish is talking to him, Rish Lakish is a crook. What do you mean Rish Lakish is an honest man? No, that he made it over that nobody remembers Rish Lakish was the crook. I mean, they may technically remember for a little bit, wasn't Rish Lakish have some kind of crazy thing that happened then? Really? I don't believe that. Something like that. That's what the way it would be about him. But it'd be a fact. But in seeing him, it can't be. So it doesn't even play a part in your thoughts about him. Because he's asking me to loan a lot of money to a guy, and you don't want any edus and stuff like that, because Rish Lakish spoke to him. Rish Lakish is a crook. Maybe they're splitting the profits. Who knows what they're doing there? But no, Rish Lakish is an honest man. Listen. Anyway, have a good Shabbos. Next week I will be in Dallas. I don't know if I'll be able to set up anything over there. So if I'm not on, so please forgive me. But we'll be back in 2 weeks.